So they actually look improved on this map, I think. But again, are they out of practice is the question.
Absolutely, and looks like we are back into the action. So round one has begun, the pistol, and immediately we'll get an exchange of damage between Henny and Surreal. Endpoint not trying to work out exactly what the play is from Furia, but they have intelligently stacked 3 players towards B here, playing more of an A retake sort of strat, and this could actually work out. See Mighty Max is in position. Smoke will come in to deny him any vision, and the Furia are off to the B bomb site take. Robin unable to get any damage. Thomas is isolated now. He does get himself one, but in comes Vinny, but looks like there is going to be some damage through the smoke. This is very, very fortunate for Endpoint, able to get the key kills here to stop this push dead.
Yeah, it's looking very grim. K-Serato all alone in the 1 versus 4, and he will not live to see another second of that round very quickly taken care of. It started out okay for Furia at the beginning. I mean, they made the most out of limited utility, which is always going to be the case for a pistol round. You have to really kind of pick exactly where you want to do things. They got the typical smokes down at TP spawn and coffins. They isolated away some of those 3 players that were stacking there. And they even had that incendiary on the back boxes there to flush out a player and grab the opening kill of the round. But just a great response from Endpoint across the board from that point forward. And so they are going to take the victory, and Furia, with that, are going to take pretty much a full save. They do have the P250 on Henny, but everyone else is blocking out. So we will certainly see that buy up in the next round. And obviously, because of that, you already see a couple of M4s in play for Endpoint.
It's a very difficult round. If you're the T side, you do go for that save. You can see there's basically no investment. So usually teams would like to use numbers to try to gain position. And we will see a couple players running towards the apartments here, trying to fake things out a bit, perhaps. Maybe to create some space towards that B bomb site. As we can see, the bomb is lurking towards the T pit position. And the only information Endpoint have at the moment, as they are playing fairly passively, is that there's been some stepping in apartments. So they don't quite really understand what's going on right now.
They do at least have vision of brackets, so they'll know the moment that Furia takes top mid control, and that'll give them a little bit of something to work with. But yeah, they won't know anything at B until someone actually peeks that initial angle. Surreal is going to go ahead and catch Art between the eyes there, so opening kill for him. Doesn't really take too much damage in the process, so looking pretty sharp. And again, we can't expect much from Furia like this, right? I mean, the best they can hope for is somehow getting a bomb plant, but that boost in this back corner will likely be able to deal with it pretty easily.
One would hope, at least. They're looking good to go, but mistakes do happen. Let's see if there will be any. That's a great first kill from Thomas. He's going to quickly advance, and he'll finish them off. That's the bomb down. The threat has been eliminated, and it does all indeed go to plan. And one thing I have to say one detail I like from Endpoint here is the setup that they have. Very passive on the B side and the stack towards the porch position. I like that because usually if the Ts are going to try to rush, they're probably going to smoke off Arch side to try to isolate an Arch player and go through lane and apartments potentially. That's more likely to see. So you can see that Endpoint are predicting things pretty well here.
Good start for Thomas as well. 6 kills already, 2 rounds played. Obviously, you got kind of an easy one there. But I feel like Thomas is one of those players that you need to pop off if you're Endpoint to have a chance to pull off the upset. He's done some good rifle work for some different teams he stood in for, like Asterion at Rotterdam. Also, obviously, was playing on what is now Godsent, that No Chance team, and kind of got a little bit of notoriety from that, looking like a rifler to keep an eye on. So off to a decent start thus far. Interesting position here from Vinny. He is normally a B control player for this Furia team, but they have him inside of the apartment. So this is definitely a bit of a different look, a bit of a role swap, you could kind of say, for how Fury's setting up this default. Yeah, I'm interested in this.
One quick pick there. That's going to be lovely for Thomas, able to fall back off of that. And that does weaken the presence for Furia towards that banana position. And it does give some options to Endpoint if they'd like to go for a top banana retake. That is available to them if they have the utility to do so. However, given that they have a 5v4, perhaps not wanting to risk it, they in fact seem to have a read here, going towards the B-bomb site with an additional player, cheating over one more. And they don't have vision top mid, so that is a gamble to a certain extent without that top mid vision. And there is a lurk from Vinny in that position right now, so that could be a problem here for Endpoint.
Luckily, they do have a player in CT spawn that can at least make sure that no one's flanking through for a B pinch. It's all going to come down to timing, though, as he went into library just as Vinny slipped into spawn. So he has a chance now to catch him on the rotate, and there it is. Vinny finds the headshot, but the B defense is at least holding on. They have 2 players still over here towards coffins and construction. They're still standing.
Oh man, this B split's really doing some serious damage. Vinny has done so much work to get his team onto the bomb site. The rotation will come in now from Endpoint, from that A site, from Banana, and there's not really much in the way of defensible positions here for Furia. They are going to be stuck here on the bomb site, having to defend, and it's not going to look too good, I don't think. In comes an Incendiary right to the back corner, and that's going to be the end of Yuri's. Up to Henny now, he gets the first one, but there's no more to be had as the retake will be successful. Very nicely done by Endpoint, all things considered. The fact that Vinny got through CT did so much damage, and yet it was still so difficult. You know, massive props to Endpoint in this one.
Yeah, it was just good that those two players at B site stayed alive for so long, able to get kills, able to buy time for those rotations to set up the retake. And so, as you noted, while Vinny was definitely a real spoiler and all that, he was limited in his impact, to be fair. He kind of only was able to get that one kill in CT spawn and quickly got traded out in construction. So, well done. Furia now back to just upgraded pistols and limited utility. This is where Endpoint can really start building up their own cash flow. Crucial now on the AWP, taking an aggressive angle towards the middle, spotting across towards the B side. Not spotting anything just yet, though. Utility slowing down Fury at the bottom of Banana as well.
The Endpoint just playing very passively here, respecting the smoke on Arch. And you know, one thing that's worried me so far is that they have been going for a lot of these read rotations as opposed to just looking for the information directly and then playing off of that. And we'll have to see if that is a trend that continues in their CT side, because it can work out for you, but it can also get very exploited if you're unlucky. So
it's very true, as we might be seeing Furia knocking on the door of this Banana area in just a moment. Surreal is holding the angle, just kind of spotting it out. We'll put down an Incendiary. This will slow down Furia even longer. They do have top mid presence still as well on the Endpoint side, so they do have that information that there is nothing controlling mid. This allows a library player to rotate into CT spawn and, again, have additional defense in place before the hit comes in.
Still getting in front of the smoke there. Does his best. The Tracers will be punished, though, by Yuri, leaving just one on the side, trying to hold on to construction. Mighty Max has a lot to do, and he is being hunted here. He's being pinched by two players. And without construction control, the retake will be difficult, so Mighty Max really needs to survive here to get his teammates into a position to get that retake and to get that going immediately, and it's not going to be working out so well. Robin will swing through and do what he can, but the missed Incendiary is going to slow things down for him. And maybe they might start to think about giving this one up. Robin he tries to go through the Incendiary, but that's not going to work out. What a disaster here for Endpoint.
It's one of those rounds that you really want to just lock it in secure. You have Fury with limited resources. You feel like you should be able to pull that one off, but Fury just kind of a ball of players gathering together, exploding into that bomb site. Got some really good exchanges early on. It was really this play from Vinny, kind of, instead of the smoke in CT spawn and just, holding that spot off, Vinny attacked it directly and got some nice deagle work. Really well done. Rifles now across the board for Fury. Definitely a team that likes to run 5 rifles in this map. They don't opt too often with Henny. They prefer this type of setup, so may not see the big green out on the T side from Furia today.
Yeah, one thing I thought was quite interesting in that previous round actually as well was that the forward Incendiary to the car from the CTs, that's like one of the pieces to the top Banana retake. I actually thought that maybe they were thinking about going for that. I think that would have been an amazing play to make. That's actually what a lot of teams are doing now on the CT side, is going for top Banana retakes. We'll perhaps go into that point more a little bit later if we run into it. We do have this set up here on Porch for Endpoint with the boost for Thomas, which could work out really well. The rifles are in position here to do damage, but Vinny with a fantastic shot onto Robin doesn't leave much in the way of options here for Thomas. He looks to try to get more than 2, but that would have been very ambitious. He's done what he could. Might still be a chance here for Endpoint, but it is going to be tough.
Surreal still with a great position here inside the pit. Crossfire with Mighty Max inside the site, though he is just on the deagle. Very low on health. So is Crucial. So is Surreal. Nade will finish the job on Mighty Max. And Surreal, even with the good angle, just unfortunate there. Not able to find it. Now it's all on Crucial.
Looks like he's going to find Yuri, and that's going to be enough for Crucial in that scenario. It's not looking...
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a promising setup, having the 2 players boosted up. It felt like they had the rifles in the right position to try to succeed, but that first pick with the flashbang, that's the experience from Furia starting to show.
It's interesting, though, Dan, because it's Vinny taking that entry out of Boiler. That is, again, a new position for him. He is normally the B lurk or B control type player, so to see him taking kind of first contact out Boiler is very, very new for him as a player. I don't know if that's brought on because they were having some issues in some tournaments late last year. You know, we obviously know that they were really struggling, you know, at the group stage of DreamHack Winter, and they had the EPL Season 10 where they weren't able to qualify for finals. So I'm wondering if they're just tinkering around with new setups, and this is, again, something to keep an eye on, as this round, not much to speak of. It's 3 USPs, to be fair, that are left on the board, so should be a cleanup for Furia. And as Art taking a lot more contact to B. Again, Art is known for his aggression and being kind of a wild entry, but usually you see him more doing that kind of towards brackets and mid and lane, not really B. So again, definitely some changes for Furia coming into this tournament.
This is certainly a great start now for Furia, or it is becoming that way. This is a point in the match now where momentum is being taken away from Endpoint. Furia establishing their economy. They've crushed Endpoint's economy. If Furia are going to have a very dominant performance, it really, this is where it begins. And I am curious if Endpoint are going to show us just lots of different gamble setups, or if we are going to see when that full utility comes in from them, that they'll have that tactical prowess to throw in behind it. We did hear in the interview that they've had 6 weeks of very intensive practice, and so I would hope that on a map like Inferno, we're going to see some good tactical setups.
Hopefully so. But I mean, I know Sean Garris on the desk was talking about how, you know, this is do or die time for some teams, like Made Brazil, and these are household names that are supposed to be doing well. Furia, at the beginning of 2019, looked like a similar story. They were ranked in the top 10 for much of last year. They had the big performance at DreamHack Masters Dallas. They had the big performance over at ECS. And it looked like they were on a team that had a trajectory, you know, going forward. And then they started slipping and dropping the ball. They had to make a roster change. And it's really been a seesaw level of form from Furia for the last, like, 6 months or so. I feel like there's a lot of ups and downs. They did have Starlighter spending that went really well, but a lot of disappointments also. So I feel like Furia at this event needs to take care of business. And right now, you know, they're off to an okay start.
Absolutely. And, you know, here they'll be going for that initial banana control. They're more tentative towards the apartment side of the map. That's, you know, usually it's going to be that 3-2 split, 3 players going for that early banana control to go and take over apartments. Then it cycles through to a mid-round, top mid take, and then you decide where you go from there. That's usually the flow of a default. And Furia just taking things really slowly here, just seeing what Endpoint want to do. Are they going to throw in a lot of utility? Are they going to try to take this position away from us? And it seems like Endpoint are going to give up banana fairly easily to Furia here.
Yeah.
Furia have position now. If they want to take top mid, they can do that as well. And there's nothing here to really challenge it from Endpoint. So Endpoint is going immediately very passive, which allows Furia to do whatever they want.
Yeah, they really have so much flexibility now. They do leave Yuri inside apartments. That's also kind of a newer position for Yuri. Yuri was more of a kind of entry type player, but they've been using him to lurk at A sometimes for the last few months, and so he'll stay here with Vinny. They'll continue to apply pressure towards the brackets, and Furia have yet to commit. They're going to double nade stack into the B-bomb site here. They start taking some looks in. Meanwhile, Vinny has again found an opening into CT spawn, and here's where things get so dangerous for Endpoint, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nobody in construction either, just the 2 players at the back of the site playing the old heat and body setup. And I don't know how well it's going to work out for them. The grenades are going to do their work, force them into the open, and Vinny and Henny will gun them down, leaving just Surreal. And this is the kind of thing I was talking about, Dust, whereby we need to see Endpoint going for the mid-round info plays. We need to see either a top banana retake if they're going to give it up at the early rounds, or we need to see pop flashes towards top middle around the 1 minute mark. You gotta start to understand, okay, where are their players? And we've got to get some map control back. If they sit back, Furia will just keep running
it's also
plays
one of
like
those nightmares, because you're getting B pinched, but you're also getting peeked from like apartments and dying, and you're getting killed at top middle, and so you're never able to rotate because you're getting picked off before you even start making the movements. And now Endpoint have to do more with less, and they did have a great little shot there early on from Surreal to get them the quick 5-on-4, and even Yuri is very low on health right now, so Endpoint actually has a puncher's chance of making this round interesting.
I think Surreal actually headshot K-Serato and Yuri through K-Serato because it was at the scouts. So that's the only way that could be that much damage given the armor he has. So that's a pretty nasty shot, and it's going to be interesting to see if this is the round. You know, I feel like it's CSGO. This would be the round if Endpoint is struggling to find, and maybe it is with this 5-7, 1 kill from Robin with the headshot, and this is getting rather hairy for Furia, as they have at least taken the bomb site, but that scout is still alive, applying pressure from Library. The smoke is down on Moto for the time being, but it will go away soon, and there it is. TT starting to try to creep into the bomb site, and Furia, they're in trouble here.
They are indeed in trouble due to the low health that Yuri is facing right now. Even a little bit of a boost going on here in the closet to look over, but Yuri sniffs it out and lines them up and knocks them down. leaving Thomas all alone here with just the CZ. And I'm sure all he's really looking to do now is just see if he can't get an exit frag, grab a gun, get the heck out of there. Maybe he could play spoiler. The first player is the low health one. He does get that kill, so forcing a little bit of rebuying out of Furia. They actually have to rebuy 3 players on what was a very limited buy from Endpoint, so decent economic management, I guess you could say, at least from the Endpoint side.
Yeah, it's definitely, that could have gone a lot worse for Furia. So I think for me, for them, it's so important that they managed to secure that situation, and maybe that's some of the experience that they have working in their favor to allow for that to be the case. And Endpoint now, we talked about having full utility, and this is the next big buy round. They're going to turn momentum, stop Furia in their tracks. There has to be here, and it's a fast pace from Furia. They're mixing things up straight into top mid, and they will be gunned down. It's not worked out at all. It backfires completely, and now they're 2 against 5.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye, this round's already almost over. There is this one chance, though, that K-Sprout and company could find Thomas by himself at B, maybe at least get the kill and get a bomb plant. The problem is they have no smoke for CT spawn, so they would have open fire taking place there, but they do catch the timing on Thomas, who tried to pull out the incendiary. Mighty Max, though, has got here very quickly, but he gets knocked down as well. And so this bomb is very likely to be planted, but again, holding off the retake's a different story. Can they do it?
Oh, God. It feels like it could happen.
Good
now.
reaction, Dan. That's apt.
K-Serato turns away. One more. Not the next, but it does give Henny a real opportunity to clutch this one out. A 1v2, they don't know where he is. He nails the first and the second. Henny is going to get the quad kill, and that is a 2v5. That should not be happening. Endpoint, they've got some problems here, more than one. It's not panning out in the way that it should. Furia were the ones that went for the gamble. They went for the fast timing attack up top mid. They thought, I think, that Endpoint were going to hammer Banana with 3 players at the beginning of the round. They didn't. They defended top mid. They crushed Furia.
Ouch.
But Furia still win the round. That is not supposed to happen.
That is nightmare fuel, if I've ever seen it, Dan. It's just one of those things where that happened to them twice now. They lost another kind of low round earlier also. So those are the types of things that sometimes inexperienced teams are going to face more often than ones that are a little bit more tested. And I mean, they were starting this game out pretty well, and now all of a sudden it's really starting to fade away here. Lost the last 6 rounds in a row, Dan. Now they're on the pistols only for the most part. A little bit of utility sprinkled around. Art taking point here towards B. Smoked off for now. Pretty default stuff here from Furia. They've been good at slowing things down. I feel like a lot of people felt Furia was kind of a one-trick pony. Like they were really just reliant on aggression, usually spearheaded by Art, and they would just be like really explosive, really kind of unpredictable, but also predictable in a way because you knew that they were going to do those types of things. And I feel like now they've been able to be a bit more reserved at times and play a bit more standard.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and it's interesting, all the evolution that is being asked of them as a team, as you say. And another thing too is that that is very worrying. Is that lack of practice? Is the fact that they don't have as much going for them in that sense in routine? But we'll see if they're able to pull this one off. There's some pistols behind these smokes that can always cause problems here as Art makes his way into the site, entry fragging second oranges. Great transfer from Art. And it looks like they have the bomb site. So despite that quick kill from Crucial, there isn't really a way that they can contest the B bomb site take from Furia. And Furia will indeed win this round. So it's
not much to say there, really.
No.
Just kind of a cleanup. One thing I do want to talk about, though, Dan, is with Furia. I feel like we need to keep an eye on the individual performance of these players, because I know that K-Serato hit an insanely high level last year. I mean, he was really just growing and growing. And I feel like he was a name that even from the very beginning, everyone had a lot of hype around, but I feel there was a point in time that Yuri really kind of surpassed him as being like the star kind of secondary entry type player, but he really kind of fizzled out a bit last year. And Art, obviously, his productivity started to go down. People started to figure out his aggressive nature. Really, it was just kind of like Henny and K-Serato were kind of the ones that were really kind of dragging the rest of the team. And so I want to see, can Yuri get back in shape? I feel like he should be. And I feel like he was always the second star next to K-Serato for this team, and he needs to be that again for them to be competitive. And so obviously this game, so far, we're seeing good performances, but that's something we need to keep an eye on all tournament long.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in terms of the skill, what is possible, it is a very scary lineup in many respects, but having all of those different players firing off at once seems a bit too seldom. But another full buy round here for Endpoint. Let's see if their approach changes the way that they play their CT side here. Only 2-3 split, 2 on Banana. well, 2 on B and 3 on A, so pretty classic there. No aggressive plays whatsoever towards that banana position. Furia will take full advantage. Oh, the top one HG, that's beautiful there. Crucial, wanting to get some information, wanting to get a cheeky peek, is being completely exposed by the HEs. And speaking of exposed, we get some boost going on here. What is happening here?
I don't know what that was meant to be, but that was going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see that a little bit later. They were just so quick at getting control of top banana. Man, I feel like that's something Endpoint needs to adjust. They need to start contesting banana. Like, stop giving Furia so much free map. It just feels like it's been so punishing. I mean, again, they've won 7 rounds in a row on the Furia side, and they have had no issue taking control whenever they've wanted it.
Yeah, for sure. And this is another one of those gamble rotations coming in. 1 minute mark. Furia haven't really shown their hand at all at this point. Endpoint don't really have top mid control yet. They're kind of running all over the place at the moment, right, rotating between B, between A, and they are having to make a gamble as to where Furia truly are going. They're just about getting top mid control, so they might want to rotate somebody over at this point. If they see nobody there, they've got to be suspicious of that B play, and indeed, the rotator is coming through to B now.
Robin able to catch contact, able to find another one there on the Vinny. He's not done yet, Dan. There's a third for Robin, the hat trick. Can he go ahead and find the full ace will now be the question on everyone's tongue. But everything's kind of slowed down a bit. I feel like that was just great staggered utility from Endpoint. They were really good because they got a third player early to keep refreshing the smoke. And unfortunately, Robin won't find the ace, but a quad kill. And now it's all Henny. 1v3. He's found 2. He's got no time. That's the real big problem. He needs to try to get out of here. He's getting a lot of kills on his way out, though. Going to force a lot of rebuying out of Endpoint. And so the round finally will go the way of the Brits after many rounds off.
That was pretty disgusting, that last kill from Henny. That's pretty amazing. So, as you say, like, so much damage. It's so annoying for Endpoint. You know, they win a round, that's going to, obviously, you know, it removes 2 from the loss bonus. So if the worst thing at this point to have happen is to win 2 and then lose 1, especially if you lose some guns. So we'll hope that, for Endpoint's sake, that they manage to string a lot more than 2 from this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much money still left over for Furia, Dan. Like, they actually have enough money to afford rent in California. Like, that's how much money they have. Going to take a lot more out of Endpoint here to really make Furia sweat. As Furia looking like they want to pick up the pace over here towards B very early on. All 5 players already here.
And then there you go, just straight away, just contact through the Molotov. Very unexpected for Endpoint. They're just playing right at the back of the bomb site once again. 2 players. Will they expect Money Max with the UMP? The flashbang goes off, doesn't do exactly what he wanted. And that's going to be the round for Furia. Again, in a really just punishing Endpoint for not having any banana control. That's what they're doing right now.
They've run that boost in the back corner a couple of times throughout this game, and I feel like it makes sense in maybe like an eco or pistol round type situation, but to see them run it on a full buy, and it allow Fury basically to get to oranges without being spotted. I mean, they get not only do they get top banana control, which in itself is a problem, but they're literally already almost in the sight before they get spotted by anyone. So again, it's just so much breathing room. I feel like Endpoint's giving them a little bit too much respect.
Yeah.
And I mean, I credit them for their use of utility the previous round where they were able to, you know, layer their smokes and really force Fury to make a last-second push at the very end of the round. But when Fury decides that they want to kick it up a notch and press on the accelerator, then you're going to run into problems if you play those more passive positions.
Yeah, it is something that's extremely exploitable. You can start off a round whereby you say, okay, we don't want to invest loads of utility because we're not convinced that they're going to do that, so we don't want to get a utility disadvantage early on. But then you want to go for information eventually, and there are those retake grenades I was talking about for top banana. You get the smoke on the half wall, you get the Molotov in front of it towards the car, and the flashbang around the corner. You know, there's ways to get the retake for a small utility cost, but we'll see if there is an adjustment. It's another somewhat buy round here, of course. You know, Endpoint have a couple weapons that they had from the previous round, and they have a few bits of utility around that. So maybe they can get something going here if Crucial can find a good position with the AWP early on. But once again, they're going to, they have to gamble at this point. In a round like this, you are unable to get info. Really, you don't have enough investment, so you do have to make a guess.
They've actually rotated a 4th player over towards A now. Luckily, 2 players are towards Arches, so they can quickly get back, but there is a little bit of a window here where Money Max is left all alone. He's trying to stand this to stay alive. He's just passed. They actually get distracted into the smoke at CT spawn, but he is quickly sorted out nonetheless. And again, Furia just so potent on these attacks. Again, when you give them this type of space, they are going to trade. I mean, that's one of the strengths of Furia, is that they have that fearlessness to just gather up together and go in and trade frag. And they have plenty of players between, you know, Yuri and Art, who obviously had those entry nature to them, but even someone like Henny, who again has yet to touch an op this entire half, he has doubled in the past as an entry rifler in his own right. So they have those types of players that feel very comfortable just balling up, swarming, and trading, and playing that assertive style, and it plays right into the hand of them, because Endpoint isn't really putting up much resistance to it.
Yeah, it's I think, you know, for those people that don't understand why we're kind of harping on about banana control so much, it's just the case that Inferno has very punishing rotations, so that means that you need to have the information as the CTs to know where to put your players so that you can defend appropriately. So you have to know what's going on top mid, and you have to have some amount of banana control so that it at least delays the Ts long enough for you to have people in the right position, to set up information plays, to make their lives a bit harder, and so on and so forth. So if you completely give it up, this is what happens. C-Side keeps the CTs in the dark, and they can never know where to have players.
I do see Crucial being a little more aggressive here. He has obviously been taking a lot of like forward peeks in apartments and obviously controlling middle, so they have put him over towards B. So maybe that's something. And we do see Mighty Max, he's taking some peeks here from the half wall. And actually Crucial finding Art. I believe that was through the smoke, or maybe it was just over by logs. Either way, finally Endpoint control Banana early in the round. They have a 5-on-4.
Absolutely, this is the first time we've seen them go aggressive on Banana. Somewhat paying off there. Trace being taken. You can see that Furia are taking initiative towards top middle as they see the pressure on Banana. And Vinny once again creeping into a forward position here. There's pressure all over the place. There's danger everywhere as far as Endpoint are concerned. Yuri with a boost over the smoke by Moto, trying to see what he can find. Will make some amount of sound cues there for Thomas. And
oh no.
Not quite sure what's going on. Walks into the open. He's lucky to get one. It is a 2v2 retake. Still doable here for Endpoint, but Furia certainly with the advantage.
Luckily that exchange brought Surreal back. He was about to try to backstab Banana. That would have been a really crazy time. That would have gave Furia the site almost for free, but now he's actually in a tricky position. I do not think Furia will expect Surreal to be here this fast. Oh, never mind, Vinny. He's on to it.
Wait, oh God, the timing does not favor him though. And Henny will go down as well. Surreal manages to clutch it through for the team. And Endpoint will pick up 1 round. And it's generally been a sea of T rounds, so that's going to be nice to break things up a little bit. And, you know, interestingly, this is the first time we see them taking initiative towards Banana, and even if that didn't go in an ideal way, we can see it forced Furia to make some decisions and created more opportunities for the CT side, and they had more information as well. So hopefully we get to see more of that, although there's only one more opportunity here. We're on the final round of the first half.
So we went from no ops to double ops on T-side in front of you. Do not see that very often. I imagine there's probably some AKs or SGs also sitting in T-spawn. And so they might just be looking to take a pick up Banana, and then they'll go back and grab a rifle. I thought I actually saw one on the floor, so we'll have to keep an eye on it though.
The challenge in front of this one. Love to see that. And this is something as well where if you're a T side, you have to know how to challenge through those smokes. It's like one of those things that you just have to, you've got to make sure the CT side will respect that you won't respect necessarily the smoke grenades that get thrown down. And then that way they might not cheat rotations because they're like, well, maybe they will actually push this smoke. And so Furia is that kind of team. They're going to definitely be aggressive given the opportunity.
That top mid control as the smoke fades. Vinny does sort out Robin, and Vinny has been so good this game, man. He's been able to get picks at lane through boilers, been able to wrap Moto and used it to exploit CT spawn or to wrap. And now all of a sudden Surreal is left very, very lonely here inside the pit. 5 Ts coming from every which direction. On the A side of the map, there is no one even thinking about rotating yet because they have to worry about CT spawn. Thomas still worried that it might be the B split. Now Surreal knows what's going on, but again, he might be overwhelmed here soon.
Around the box, and Keserato is going to eliminate it, leaving very little chance for the remainder of Endpoint at this point. Both Thomas and Crucial making the B rotation in towards that A retake. It's not going to be a good look for them. As you can see how defensible these positions are. That smoke grenade to Moto right there is such a killer. It's so hard to do anything, and in fact, nothing was going according to plan, and then it quickly turned.
It was the classic 3-0 start, and it's gone. Exactly. That was pretty much the half, but we'll see. Look at this, though, from Yuri. So aggressive, Dan. He wants to get this over with.
He absolutely does. In typical Furia fashion, they're going to take the fight to you, and Thomas will be shut down, and then now it's just very difficult choke points to. This is just so uncomfortable.
Imagine
for the
being
side.
a T in alt mid having to watch like the tunnel.
Exactly, yeah. The crawl space. It's so uncomfortable. It's just it shouldn't be that way. You get all this free space, and all of a sudden the CTs are all over it. It doesn't make sense. But that's the situation. Robin's having to watch T spawn almost effectively, and he will get the kill there. So Yuri going quite aggressive, really wanting to finish that one off. And
that was scary because he has the bomb, Dan. So like if he actually would have gotten caught there, that would have caused big problems. But luckily he stays alive. But he's still all alone. There's a banana push, so he still has to be very careful being this bomb carrier.
Yeah, there's a case that Yuri did overstep things because they had so much control, and now there's an opening for Endpoint. You can see they are moving towards top middle now. Vinny's there. How many headshots will he find? There's one. Oh, that's absolutely stunning. The second shot, and now there's just two that remain here for Endpoint.
It's all on Robin and Mighty Max here. He's not so mighty, though, when KSrado puts the bullet between his eyes. And it's Robin getting a bomb plant at the very least, though. So props to him for at least getting a little bit of added economic benefit from the round, but still a dominant showing from Furia to lock in their first pistol round. Obviously, they lost a pistol in the second, but still having a huge half. And this is just going to make it even easier.
And there's a lot of very cool options too when you get that bomb plant. Endpoint could decide to just go for a full buy here, and we might see Mac 10s with full utility, as well as maybe just sprinkle a Galil in there. Maybe something like that is possible, and that can be devastating to the CT side. So we'll see a huge emphasis around the utility here for Furia, especially around their B players, and they're putting 3 towards B. So you can see that they want to take fast control of this position, deep smoke, and if Endpoint were to go for a fast play towards Banana, they likely would have run into a lot of problems. So Furia, they've dealt with that, and now they can rotate players out.
Surreal and company just slipping up here through top middle. They don't have much invested in this. Remember, they got the bomb plant first round. They want to save up in 4-5 next, but they still find the headshot there onto Vinny. They get control of CT spawn. They still have top middle as well, and this actually gets a bit scary now for Furia. They're not quite sure. They do have the flank, though, from Art, which could prove to be very useful.
He's going to get very close to this as well. Oh, he misses the boiler play, but it might not matter here. Mighty Max still gets it done with the Glock, but still, there are problems here on the bomb side. 2 more players. KSrado has to survive with this. That P9, the heads showing there for Surreal, and it will be taken out as KSrado still holds on to Pit, anchoring this position for as long as possible, buying time for Henny to come in. And now Henny has revealed his position, trying to find what he can in terms of damage, but it's all in the hands of Robin with that Deagle. 2 phenomenal kills, and Endpoint. What a great reaction, knowing that there's a lot of pressure on Banana. They knew that Arch would be weak, and they attacked it early on.
Yeah, they did really great work, and with limited resources, again, they just had kind of Deagles upgraded pistols. They were looking to do damage, maybe get another bomb plant, but the next round was really the one they were probably planning for, yet Robin and company able to make this one worth. Great shooting there from the Swede. Again, a guy whose career was severely shortened, I guess you could say, many years ago due to a wrongful ban that got returned, but now he's out here swinging. Really great round, and now they have a chance to really start controlling this half. They've reset Furia. They didn't even buy yet until now, so money's getting there. This is great stuff.
Yes, it's certainly an awkward situation, and I hope for Endpoint's sake, another tell that we could have as to how ready they are, tournament ready, is how do they handle rounds like this, where the CTs are going to delay as long as possible. They've got pistols, they can make all these kind of crazy setups, they can delay you, and it can get to a point with some teams where they won't have the correct protocols in place, and they'll get delayed so much that then they'll have to make a desperation push, which will go very poorly as things will go unchecked. So we'll have to see if Endpoint can avoid that situation.
Again, this is a different class of team for Endpoint. Most of their games have been against teams you've probably never even heard of. And they've played like Heroic once in an online best-of-5 and like Gambit Youngsters, but you really have to go searching deeply to find them against, teams that would be notable to you. And so it is a big test for them, as you've said. But here they go, gathering up here towards top mid. Utility coming in. Yuri, though, playing a tricky position up close with the Deagle. Almost lines up a couple of heads. Does find 1 kill, though. The exchange even thus far. But now we're starting to see Endpoint take control with that kill from Surreal.
Oh dear, they're getting in there. Rotations in just in time from Henny from the B-bomb side. And Crucial has very, very low HP. Turning the corner, trying to find Henny. He's got 13 seconds to plant the bomb. This is not looking likely. The Furia know they just have to waste his time. Let him go to the bomb site. And Vinny coming in from the apartments. Great round from Furia, and that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Furia were able to delay Endpoint so much that Endpoint were not able to correctly and smoothly take position.
Like, as soon as they traded out one player, there's another one waiting for them again, and so they never had that chance to kind of sort out, you know, how to pave their way through all the chaos. And Furia is very good at creating that chaos and creating those mixed communications, and where you're having to think fast and make the right call at the right moment, and it just didn't happen there for Endpoint. They do still have some money at their disposal, though. We're going to see a couple of AKs and a Mac-10 on Mighty Max. Banana pressure being taken here by Henny and Vinny. A little bit different. Art usually the one playing with Vinny over at the B side of the map, but Henny has certainly played this position in the past for other teams, so it's not too crazy of an adjustment.
And already, you know, again, we're seeing Furia just really asserting themselves on the banana position on the CT side. And there is a counter smoke from the T side. And it's actually kind of funny that that half-wall smoke is sometimes a T smoke so that they can prevent the CTs from having banana, which shows you a totally different story as to the first half. Furia, you know, they respect how much importance there is behind banana control. Yep. And Endpoint takes them a lot to get hold of it, and look how much utility they have remaining. It's you know, very low at this point, just 2 smokes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Art rotated and swapped with Vinny, and he still has a smoke and an incendiary. So again, Furia making the most out of what utility they did have purchased, making sure that they constantly have people where they need to be able to block off top banana. As I say that, though, it seems like it'll be irrelevant, as we do see Endpoint looking to gather up here at top middle very soon. And Incendiary, though, will slow them down. 35 seconds left and ticking. K-Serrano holding a tricky angle here on the balcony. There's a player right next to him. He doesn't quite know it just yet, but as it fades, he might find a freebie, or he might find himself in a lot of trouble. It's awkward, but he gets the kill.
Not looking too bad, is it?
I didn't even have a chance to say anything else. In the blink of an eye, the round's over. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, great round from Furia there. I think, you know, as you said, how they rotated players to make sure that they had utility in the right places, and were once again just very efficiently delaying Endpoint and creating a situation where Endpoint didn't have good options.
Yeah.
And so Endpoint, you know, when they get to their full buy, they're going to have to win this utility battle that so far Furia are playing expertly. And then, well, they're once again taking the fight straight to Endpoint, it seems, taking away the entire map.
That's tough. I mean, I don't know what that does to your mentality. It's obviously a low-risk play for Art because he's just running around with an SMG. He's just trying to farm money. He knows that he's got plenty of players behind him. There's a little bit of a team kill going on there, a little bit of friendly fire. That's actually an equal amount of kills to what Endpoint have in the round, unfortunately. And that's going to be all she wrote for that one. Furia 1 round away from map point and moving on to our winners match later on today for that direct spot in the playoffs. Endpoint maybe moments away from playing elimination best of 3 tomorrow morning. But we'll see. They do have a full buy at their disposal. And I haven't seen them really play the way I'm used to. And I've watched some of their Inferno demos from their online play. They're a very scrappy team. They like to go for the early exchanges. They like to just kind of get in your face and trade. But I feel like they've been forced to be timid. But maybe this is the round where they really go for something and try to play to their strengths a bit.
Once again, we see the deep smoke from Furia on Banana, and at this point, Endpoint are respecting it, it seems. It's not looking like they're having any kind of a setup to go through it, and instead what we have here is the aggressive setup with a boost at top middle for Furia. They're expecting the top mid take to come in next, and here it goes. We get the arch smoke. A little bit deep there, I'm not sure. Either way, looks like the CTs of Furia are here to fight on top mid, and they want this to work out. The round ends on this position, on this play from the T side. Robin and Thomas is all that's left.
It's difficult to watch, but at least we do see them get one frag back there into a 2 versus 4. The bomb is down, though, in a very tricky position. They still have to worry about the banana flank. There's still plenty of presence at top middle from Furia as well. They have to break. They catch the timing, though, on the K-Serrano. Luckily, Vinny, though, there to have his back, the Guardian Angel, the insurance policy Furia needed, leaving Thomas all by his lonesome with very low health here. Again, has to worry about players to each direction, has to pick his timing perfectly. Closet player just toying with him, forcing fire and drawing his attention, allowing his teammate to position underneath the porch. And now the crossfire is in prime position, and that is going to be the end of it. And yeah, Thomas's face tells it all, really. It's been a tough day at the office so far for Endpoint.
I'm liking the mix-ups we're seeing from Furia so far. You know, they are setting that consistent banana pressure at the beginning of every round. So far, Endpoint aren't really dealing with it all that well, which means then for Furia, they've got all this information to know that Endpoint are very likely going for those top mid plays. Furia go for the risky spot where they say, you know what, we're actually just going to end the round if they, you know, at the point in which they go for the top mid default. And that's exactly what happened in that previous round. So everything is working for Furia right now, and you can see here that Endpoint are putting more towards banana early on, trying to push Henny back so they can take that top banana position. But they aren't committed towards this, and they don't have apartments control right now, which means that they are likely going to just go for a fully committed B round now.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't have options, especially with Art challenging top middle like this and never having to fade back Arches or library and give up information on top middle. As I say that, though, they actually kind of start drifting back more into kind of a default CT setup. The smoke is going to go down on CT spawn. Caserado will make that call. Vinny, though, gets back in place over here towards the Art side. Of smoke will be in his face, but he might be able to spam through. There are two players guarding the lane side right now. Art inside the graveyard. Yuri with two already from up top. Art finds the perfect timing window to find one himself. He might be stuck here, but he's getting kills on his way out the door, and Yuri will put the finishing touches on. 16-6 there for Furia in half of the rounds.